Hello and welcome to The Elephant. That's right, Andy, we've rebranded. You can't do shit about it.
I can.
You can't.
I have control of all the stuff.
No, this is The Elephant, the podcast as intended in its raw, beautiful form. It's the podcast in which me, James,
Me, Andy.
play the campaign for North Africa, a very long game. And we used to call this something completely different, didn't we, Andy?
Yeah, War with a Mate.
Yeah. Oh,
Its actual name.
don't say those words.
Why would you try and bring that back?
Because I thought I could. I thought it's been long enough. I thought it's been over a year now. I can probably slip that in. You wouldn't notice. I guess me mentioning the rebrand probably fucked that plan from go.
Also, it'll be a bad idea whenever it's mentioned, regardless of time.
Right, I suppose so. It's bad for SEO. It's bad for brand recognition. It's bad for a few reasons. Well, we're sticking with War with a Mate then? Really?
I think we're sort of pot committed now.
Oh, for God's sake. Okay, fine. It's War with a Mate. It's a podcast where we do the thing I just said.
Boy, that's deflated you.
You've really taken the wind out of my sails there, man. Well, it's still the same thing. It's still War with a Mate with the campaign for North Africa as the guest. How was the guest today, would you say, Andy?
Pretty good. Didn't get a huge amount done, but
Well, you say that. Today was Truck Day.
it was. We started out doing a bit of trucking,
And there was a time where Truck Day would be solely Truck Day.
but we've sped it up.
We have, and today we did Truck Day for Op Stage 1 of Turn 3. And then we got into Op Stage 2 of Turn 3, where we rolled the weather, we determined initiative, we did an air combat, and we assigned all of our air missions.
Yes, and we did some organisation beforehand.
Yeah, so that's not a small amount, I would
We
say.
actually did a fairly decent amount, yeah.
And part of that delay was because we did a big rules clarification, which hasn't come up in a while.
Yes, we did have a big old rules check.
And it was on an area which we have seldom touched on. I think we've only ever touched that area once, but we'll get to that.
Indeed.
So, starting from the start, it was Truck Day, and it was, as always, a beautiful day. Truck Day always now is a grand day. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, because I've figured out what to do with trucks. So
Yeah.
for me, it's always good. How did you find your truck stuff, Andy?
Incredibly simple. My supply line is a line.
Yeah, you have a one-dimensional truck system.
Yeah.
Mine is not too far off nowadays. It's no longer the scattered mess of 4 or 5 trucks at a time that it once was. Through amalgamation of trucks or you hijacking them and running them west into the wilds, it's become a much simpler matter. So I moved my trucks around. I've done a bit of dancing between Bardia and what I call Supply Dump 1, which is the one that garrisons the wall, as I've taken to calling them, the group that have moved across Map C into Map D. So that was just a couple moves back and forth. You did give me the harsh reality check that it's been a rainstorm. So I had to remember that. And instead of it being 2 trips for each convoy, it was just the one. And it led to breakdown of just a couple trucks. Just one single truck,
That's fine.
which I'll take. They're also not too far from Tobruk. They can get there. They can get repaired. That's fine. Bolstered that a little bit. And I also moved my big convoy from Bardia down to the big supply dump that was a point of contention last week, the one near Fort Madalena, the one that used to belong to you.
Yes.
Now that one, as you may remember everyone, is the one where I thought it was going to be my saving grace, my Hail Mary, not Mary Magdalena, mind you, just Mary. Don't believe she had a surname.
She wasn't called Magdalena.
She was just Mary. Mary Bible, I believe it was. And I've started filling that back up. The reason behind that, as you know damn well, Andy, is because my supply dump 1 up along the north coast is subject to bombing from your convoy, your naval convoy.
Yes, it's right on the water.
And I don't like the sound of
Beautiful
that.
Mediterranean view would be a great place to be if it wasn't, a war.
Yeah, maybe so. But unfortunately, everyone who's sat at that supply dump waiting for the troops to arrive and replenish themselves, unfortunately, what they'll find is a big array of naval vessels ready to blow them to the next life.
Yeah, I think there's like 7 ships, like
Yeah.
bunch of destroyers on a battleship.
Well, I wasn't too keen on what happened there, so I yeah, I decided I'm going to start filling up that other supply dump, which was intended to be my saving grace. Got some trucks down there. A few breakdowns there. 3 trucks down. There were 28 medium trucks. I lost 3. All the heavies are still there. So I'll take that. That's not too bad a loss. Apart from that, the only other truck movement I did was the northern coastline, which was filling up the airstrips again, airstrips and airfields for my bombers. That went well. Not a single breakdown. I'll take that. Even with the rainy conditions, there's no real damage done, I would say, to that convoy. So all is going well on the truck front. I nearly broke off some of my trucks from the black shirts to dart off and head over as a big wave of trucks. We're talking like 100 trucks. I decided, no, James, you're not going to do that. What you are going to do is be a sensible man. I was a sensible man. I kept them as first-line trucks, garrisoning these huge swathes of black shirts who may or may not show up. And if they do, it will be towards the end of the scenario for one last hurrah. Andy, how did your trucks go?
Very smooth. One went from Alexandria to Mercer Matruh. One went from Mercer Matruh to Alexandria. Yep, that's it.
Fantastic. So, moving on.
And one did some very local supplies.
I guess to wrap up that turn, we've got some breakdown to do. I've got my guys that are moving slowly but surely up towards Tobruk. A few more repairs to be done. I'll see how that pans out. Hopefully well. Maybe not. But I'm optimistic. I got some tanks last time. I'm interested to see where they go in this land movement phase.
Because they're replacement points at the minute, aren't
they? They are.
Yeah,
they are.
So you need to... Shouldn't you have moved them in the trucks phase?
I couldn't do anything with them because they were... No, I could have, because it was the last repair phase that they were repaired. Yeah, you make a good point, Andy. Could have moved them now.
Oh, well.
Call me out like that. Son of a bitch. Yeah, I do need to move those tanks to where they should be. You know what? I'm glad that I didn't move them when it's rainy. That's bad for the tanks. Because there's no such thing as roads during the rain.
And tanks, boy, do they love breaking down.
They do. They're actually hooked on it. Hooked on a feeling.
I'm
high on believing.
Okay. That's going to peak horribly.
I'm looking at the audiograph now. Yes, that's going to take a little bit of tweaking behind the scenes. Yo, no, that's bad. That can't be fixed. But that's okay. That's fine. You know why, Andy? It's December.
Yeah.
It's the festive season.
It's crept up on us.
It has. Just like that, we're back at Christmas.
Do you know what you're getting for Christmas?
Do you know what I'm getting for
what
Christmas?
Santa's bringing you?
What's he bringing?
Yeah, I'm asking if you...
No, I don't know.
Have you put a list up the chimney?
I thought you had an in with the big man. What? Put a list up the chimney, did you just say?
Yeah, like at the start of December, you leave the list next to the fireplace. He does a little recon tour, comes down, gets your list, and then comes back a few weeks later with your stuff.
That's demented. Are you trying to cause a house fire?
No, you don't burn it. You leave it just next to the fireplace, and he just swings down and gets it. Maybe he sends an elf.
You're leaving loose, dry parchment near a fireplace.
Yeah.
Not in the fireplace, nearby, where it can catch an ember and then erupt into flame.
It's not on.
What's not on? You're right. You know what? No, this is not on. You're right. This is absolutely not on. That's insane.
How did you get your list to Santa?
I write it down. I give it to my parents. Not anymore, but I would give it to my parents.
See, my parents didn't have a direct line, so I had to leave it next to the fireplace.
Well, could they not then find another safer way to hand it off to Santa? Who comes and get this in your fucked up fire hazard world?
I assume Santa, but I mean, he's probably busy prepping, so maybe an elf.
Sorry, you think the big man himself is going to show up in December, which is the year's Christmas Eve?
Yeah, he's doing like a practice route.
What practice route?
It goes to every house and gets the list.
Right, that's bad. That's so inefficient. It's unbelievable. You know what? That explains why some boys and girls don't get Christmas presents that they ask for. If that's what he's doing, that explains so much. And people say it's all about, poverty, and it's about families not being able to spend lavishly at Christmas, and everyone has to just live within their means and buy someone something that's meaningful, and it's all about the thought. But realistically, we could all be getting Xboxes, we could all be getting cool stuff, we could all be getting a bike, but this kind of mentality that you've got, Andy, it's absolutely butchering some kids' Christmas.
I think it's because when I was like 5, maybe 4. I did my Christmas list, but I was like, Santa will know what I want and wouldn't give it to my parents, so they had to come up with a lie to get it.
That is one of my favorite metas. Kids figuring out that small line between make believe and truth, where they start to believe too much in the fantasy and the parents lose control of the fantasy. It's a bit like the tooth fairy thing of like, you put the tooth under your pillow, but you stay awake all night giddy waiting for the tooth fairy to show up, and
You don't get your
you can't get your money anymore. How much did you get from the tooth fairy?
I think it was £1.
Yeah, I think mine was £1. I think I got a 50 pence once.
But I also did another one. I lost a tooth at, like, one of my baby teeth at school. I, like, got knocked and it got knocked out. And I didn't tell my parents. I snuck it under my pillow. And weirdly, the tooth fairy didn't show up that time. So I like testing supernatural beings.
Yeah, you've got a bit of a penchant for that. I think
Oh,
you
yeah.
genuinely do like to poke and prod at the border of the supernatural just to test what's going on. You've got a very X-Files vibe about you, I'll give you that.
I do want to believe.
You want to believe so hard, so endearing. You are the perfect child to have at Christmas. But unfortunately now, Andy, you're a man. And as a man, you've decided to invest all of your attention and your fantasy belief into this being a good idea to do.
And it's almost working.
Almost.
But yeah, we finished up stage 1 of turn 3.
We did, and then we barreled straight through into Upstage 2.
Yep, so I think first off we had distribution and stuff. Did you do any reorganizing?
I didn't. I nearly did, like I say, with the black shirts. I nearly chunked off some of the trucks. I was having a look at how much stores I've got within those trucks and whether or not I can get them to the front line to an extent that I wouldn't need a new resupply of stores. I decided it's not worth the risk. I don't know what's going to happen. Another foul weather could completely upset that.
Yeah.
So I decided against it. They're all staying as frontline trucks. First line.
Oh, nice. I did a little bit of organization. I split the 6th Australian up.
Mm-hmm.
Hadn't got the things out, but they're now in like the 3 smaller chunks. I just split it. And also motorized the 7th because they had enough empty trucks to chuck the boys in.
Ah, the boys are in the trucks now, eh?
Yep.
So is that fully motorized 7th Division?
Oh, yeah.
Right. I'll need to keep an eye on that. Thankfully, it won't be too much of an issue because following that, we went on to air.
Before air.
Did we
I
have
moved
something
some
before
boats.
air? Oh, yeah, I don't want to talk
I
about
had a
that.
lot of stuff to do before that, but yeah.
I don't want to talk about the boats.
So I've sent a detachment of cruisers up to your little wall. They're ready to start shelling. And I
Yeah.
sent a bigger detachment of more not as good ships to go and bomb that supply dump we've been talking about.
Yep, Supply Dump 1.
Is gonna be destroyed.
No, Supply Dump 1 is going to be fine.
Right.
I've just filled it with supplies today, so that means it's going to be okay.
Oh, you filled it with supplies?
So what you don't know, Andy, is I've stacked a bunch of boxes full of like lead and other heavy materials in front between the supplies and the coastline. Now, you probably haven't seen these rules. They're buried deep in, but I'm allowed to do that, and you can't do anything about it. You're actually, and I checked this, you're not even allowed to read that part of the rules, which sounds shocking, I know, but Richard Berg was a genius, and you aren't really allowed to question that. Otherwise, you're questioning the integrity of the game.
Which would be wild.
Exactly. So I know it's bad news. I'm sorry to break it to you now on live mic, but there's always next time.
I think the amount of guns, they'll just chew through your little defenses.
I fear that even in this fantasy world, you may be right. I do fear that.
Yeah, that's happening. But then, yeah, we moved to air.
We did. We went
And
up
we
in the
had-
sky.
A bunch of missions each.
I had 690 bombs to drop,
That's a lot.
and to guard them, I had 0 fighters.
Which was news to me, but I'm happy about.
Well, it shouldn't be news to you, Andy, because you spent the last year of your life,
Aggressively hunting planes.
yes, undercutting my air superiority. And you've managed to succeed, it would seem, to an extent, because you've now pulled the rug out from under me. I don't have fighters that can fly, because it's one of a few things. The supply line is either fucked, which is kind of through my own doing. I'll take responsibility and hold my hand up for that. or it's because you've destroyed the airfield, or it's because you've popped into the airfield quickly and killed all of the people who worked there, which is, again, a war crime.
No.
Yeah, they weren't armed.
They had pistols, I assume.
They surrendered immediately.
They just fall back ineffectually.
You don't know my men. I know my men.
Also, the only people who walked out of those airfields are my guys, and they're not telling themselves.
Wow. You're really painting the Commonwealth as the bad guys here, Andy.
No, that's not quite tipped the balance.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to
Also,
try.
they basically do what the SAS did, which I guess they are currently on trial for war crimes.
Yeah, let's not delve into
that.
Yeah, let's not look too closely at that one. So, all in all, my Air Force was heavy on the bomber front. You had a bit of a mixture.
I flew 2 close air patrols, combat air patrols, one above the 7th and one above the 4th Indian Division.
And the 7th are still sort of out on their own. They've just continued almost completely due east from Fort Madalena and the secret supply dump that you had. And they are now out in the middle of nowhere, and I decided to bomb them.
Yes.
I not only decided to bomb them, but I decided to bomb the 4th Indian, the 16th, the guys hanging around the 16th, the 2nd New Zealand, and whoever it was that was at Mercer Matru.
That's going to be an interesting one because Mercer Matru has a lot of anti-aircraft.
Yes.
And if I need to check because it does have a fortification level, I think, which might affect.
Yeah, all in all, I went for 6 bombing runs.
It's a big spread.
It is. I tried to even it out so it's an average of 121 bombs per bombing run. And I had a look over as we were doing it. Some of them swing a little bit further over, some of them swing a little bit further behind.
Oh, so there are a few of them in that column before, the 80 to 120.
A couple of them are, yeah. I tried to average it out, but I realised that the squads do not allow for that. So the way I've actually distributed them, in my head it was like, well, it evens at 121, but that doesn't translate to exactly 121 for each one. So they're all around that. 121, in terms of quantity of bombs, would guarantee pinning at least one tour point of any given group.
Yeah, and we resolved the one over the 7th.
We did, and you had a close air patrol, combat air patrol.
Yeah, I took out 4 of your bombers.
You took out 4 planes, you took out 3 of my bad ones, and you took out 1 of my good ones. Oh, off the top of my head, I want to say C309s. Tell you what, I can tell you, because I've got the paper right here. You took out 3 of my CA309s, and you took out 1 of my BA65s. Okay. People who are listening and are well informed of the Italian Air Force and World War II's North African campaign will probably know a lot more about that than I do. I just go off the numbers on the page. But that was a decent hit. And then on the back of that, we also then calculated the flak, the anti-air.
Yes, that was our rule checking chunk because we've not done that before. We've done a couple where the screening fighters have just removed it. I think primarily on when I attacked your naval convoy.
Yes, we've done 1 anti-air before, and I think it was me against you. And it was very early days.
Yeah, I think it would have been the start of turn 2 when I found that convoy.
Oh, I think it might have been.
And bombed it.
That sounds right. I think it was.
But I'd put enough on to just screen them off so we didn't roll it. Because every 3 fighters you reduce the anti-air by 1.
I'm almost certain I've done anti-air and aborted one of your planes. I just don't know when.
Oh, I think you're right, actually. When would that... Yeah.
That would have been a while ago, though. That might even be turn 1.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we did it, but the 7th have quite a bit of anti-air, fortunately, on their not dedicated anti-air. A lot of their tanks have an anti-air rating of 1.
Yeah, I think it worked out 26 points you had.
Yeah.
So you aborted another...
I destroyed 2, aborted 1.
Yes. And the way that panned out was you managed to destroy another... I think it was 2 of my good planes. Again, I have it here. I've actually got my notes to hand today. You destroyed, 2 of my good planes. So you destroyed 2 of my... the BA-65s. You destroyed 2 BA-65s and aborted another CA309. So all in all, you took it down to just below the threshold needed for one of the columns.
Well,
so you brought it down to
15 planes, and I took out 7 overall.
Yes. And you took it down to 80 bombs.
Which I guess means most of the survivors were your good planes?
Yeah. Most of my bombers were good. I had 9 good bombers, 6 bad ones. So in the end, I had 80 bombs dropped. 81 is the threshold to go into the next column. So that was pretty frustrating. But can't really do anything about it.
Despite being on the lower column, you did get your pin off.
I did. I pinned one.
Yep, you pinned. I'm not going to tell you who, but you pinned one of my infantry guys.
Yeah, I had a choice of 3 battalions, I believe.
Yep.
Pinned one, which is good. And now I'm teed up, ready to swing at another 5 groups.
Yes, and then I've got a bombing run against the southernmost unit of your little wall at the coast.
Yes, which I think is... I can't remember off the top of my head.
CIR, I think. I don't know what that is.
So, yes, CIR... I can't remember the number, but yes, I know who you mean. 63, I think. CIR 63, I think. Yes, I know who you mean. You've got them teed up for a bombing run, and you're also...
I'm continuing to bomb and strafe the Saharans.
Yeah, you really want to take them apart, don't you?
I just want them to stay still.
They probably will. And I don't have any sort of combat air patrol because I can't. I've got no fighters. Also, because they've went so far east now, I don't even know if my fighters would have been able to reach them reliably.
Yeah, because you lost Fort Magdalena, which was your forward one. I don't know where your other fighter base is, but I'm guessing just looking at the airfields, it's probably on map B.
It's definitely not on map A, I can tell you that.
Yeah, well, that would be pointless.
Yeah, at that point, I've got them ready to fight on map
That's
B.
a very defensive attitude.
Yeah, and it's Graziani's offensive.
Yeah, that's misnamed. Well,
I think it's accurate, maybe historically, but not now.
I don't know if it's accurate historically.
It was an offensive. It was just a short-lived and badly timed offensive.
That they didn't want to do. Can't remember the exact quote, but it was never has an army so not wanted to take part in something.
That's sort of how I function in this.
Yeah.
I'd love to have not taken part in this, but we're a year in. You can't really not.
Yeah, we'll have to finish now. Because of the sunk cost policy.
This is the practice run.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But the speed is getting much better. I'm happier about. Because today we would have probably got through most of the air stuff, but we actually had 2 big rules discussions. We had the anti-air and also how the combat air patrols
Yes.
zone of control worked and whether it was everything that came into it or just one. You could do one thing.
Yeah, and we've determined that it's the case. You can have a combat air patrol, which when you have 3 or more planes, have a zone of control. And anything that enters that zone of control, you can distribute your combat air patrol amongst as many missions that you encounter as you see fit to try and counter. But you divide it. You don't attack each one as an individual effort. So I'm interested to see how the rest of this air combat plays out.
Well, it's going to be a very important one for how this is a very decisive turn for everything, and this is going to affect how this upcoming land combat thing goes. Yeah, if you manage to pin a bunch of stuff, it might change. Well, I'll certainly have less guys to use.
Yeah, I could potentially pin all of your guys that are up there, and then you have to decide what happens in terms of breaking men off, which is as good as me having killed an entire battalion.
Yeah, it's sort of functionally works out the same for you.
Yeah, better if anything, because if I can, for the sake of these bombs, pin a whole battalion, and then you leave them behind, they're as good as dead when it comes to a fight.
Yeah.
Depending on positioning.
Yeah.
If you choose to leave them behind to come into a fight, they're as good as dead. If you keep them around and I fight you where they are, they can fight another day.
Yeah. Also, they can sort of move in with the others' CPA permitting, but just not fight.
It just means that
if they can get to the fight with half their CPA.
Just with them not being included in that cluster for a fight, if they manage to get cut off somehow, becomes very risky for them.
Oh, you just leave them in the overall unit, but they can't attack or use more than half their CPA. But if the overall unit uses less than their CPA to get to the enemy, they can just be there, and they're not like isolated.
Do you not have to detach them if they're pinned? They can't move though, can they?
They can move half their CPA, I think. We'll double check the bombardment thing because it's slightly different for air stuff, but I'm pretty sure they can still move, just not much, and they can't attack.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to double check that, but either way, it's hamstrung them to an extent.
Yeah, definitely. So we got quite a bit to resolve. It's been a big air phase that we didn't get through.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of air-to-air and a lot of bombing to resolve, but all in all, a very exciting situation.
Oh, yeah.
It's good when the bombing runs matter when it comes to the land stuff.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of stuff where we do a bombing run and it doesn't really manifest in the air, in the land stage, whereas this one really will impact the land stage quite significantly.
Oh, yeah.
And that was it. That was today's play.
Yeah, it was quite an interesting one. It felt a bit old school with the rules checking. We've not had a big...
Yeah, I was thinking that. We've not often have to go back and look through the rules in depth.
I guess also, I don't know if we mentioned it, we rolled normal weather for this upstage.
Oh, yes.
I think we didn't mention it because it doesn't do anything.
And you have initiative.
Yes, I took initiative.
Which is a given.
Yeah.
But yes, you chose to have initiative, and it's normal weather. Thank God it's normal weather. So glad for that. I did not want more weird weather shit.
I really wanted foul weather.
You are foul weather.
I just wanted to take the air stuff out of play, basically.
I mean, it would have made this whole session much more...
We would have just gone immediately to land.
Yeah, it would have taken off this bombing run that I've got going on. Which would have been great for you.
Yeah.
But bad for James. So this is good for James, ergo, I like it.
Fair enough.
Big fan of it. You know what else I'm a big fan of, Andy?
Getting emails from our fans.
Yes, but also
Oh.
the way that our fans have jumped in and really been a godsend when it comes to Movember.
Oh, yes.
Because Movember is over. The mustache is gone. I will be putting up a post probably this week with the episode 1 on Instagram. I'll be showing off the before and after of the mustache and what it looks like without the mustache now that it's departed, unfortunately. It grew on me, as mustaches do. That's a good mustache joke. But we ended up with just over £300 in donations. That is fucking brilliant. So to everyone that donated or talked about it or shared it, thank you so much. I know we've harped on about this a lot. It's an important cause, and I'm very unapologetic about that. But I know that this is about, the campaign for North Africa. But I just wanted to give one final shout out and thank you for everyone who contributed to that. It's incredible that we raised money for a good cause. So everybody who's been involved with that, just remember that this is not just a podcast about a silly board game. It's one that also put money into a very good charity. So thank you so much for that. And that also, it comes from interaction with everybody, with our listeners, Andy.
Yeah.
And these kooky characters, they keep on coming. It turns out that there is no shortage of wacky anecdotes or thought-provoking questions because we've got some today in the mailbag. And you can start, I think, Andy. What have you got over there in that mailbag of yours? Hewitt, a repeat emailer, I believe. Hewitt's been in touch before.
Yes. So, James and Andy, good afternoon. Hope this email finds you well. I have been a big fan of the podcast, and I really look forward to the new episodes each week. I enjoy listening to them while driving, exercising, studying, and working on monster spreadsheets of my own at work. I have been re-listening to some of the older episodes, and between claims of actually starting the game and tangents about bin weevils and Michael McIntyre, you have convinced me to purchase and try Huel, which has been one of my favourite jokes throughout the podcast.
It's not a joke.
It's not a joke, don't try it.
It's not a joke, it's a serious thing that I mean. I'm glad you tried it. Good boy, Hewitt. Freudian slip.
I was pleasantly surprised with the taste and did enjoy it as a protein/recovery drink. After doing some research about meals eaten by soldiers in the campaign and throughout World War II, I found that the compo rations used by the British force and the 10-1 rations used by the Americans provided 127 grams of protein. This really just equals 3 Huel shakes worth of protein. Perhaps on a second playthrough, you can add an amendment to the rules featuring a Huel point, or it might actually be more catchy, the Huel rule.
Love it.
Where it acts the same as the pasta point, but for the Commonwealth. Instead of boiling pasta, it's water for their Huel protein powder.
I love it. It's the new remake. It's the modern day contemporary War with a Maid version of Campaign for North Africa. It's Huel instead of pasta point. That is beautiful.
Well, you'd still have pasta points, and then the Commonwealth would have the Huel rule.
We'll find another alternative, but that's great. While you've already got a re-listen going in, Hewitt. That is dedication to the max. That you've went back and started listening to it. The Bin Weevils and Michael McIntyre, they're old school.
They're deep cuts.
They're deep cuts, and for a reason.
I also thought of some more questions about the game since I emailed previously in March. You guys mentioned that in the rules it states that when you try it across the Nile River, everyone just dies. Is that all the rules regarding the river? I wouldn't put it past the game, but if so, that seems quite intense. Well, for that, it's not quite to do with the river, but if there's a sandstorm, it doesn't affect the delta hexes around the Nile.
Yes, and also when it's raining, you can't cross the Nile, I believe.
Yes, there's something, even with roads, I think you might be out of luck.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we were referencing, that when you come across the Nile in that weather, you just can't cross it at all. So I think the interpretation is you die if you try to cross the Nile, which means you just aren't allowed in the terms of the rules to cross the Nile.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a function where you can cross it and die automatically. But that's I think that's the intention behind it, that if you were trying to cross it during a rainstorm, you would be killed in the treacherous conditions. Yeah. But yeah, the game doesn't allow you to do that, but you are right, Hewitt. It's wild that this is a game where you can expect there to be a rule that allows you to voluntarily die in the Nile. I wouldn't be shocked if it's in there. Maybe we've missed it. It could be in there.
Very possible we've missed it. What does it mean to go first? I guess we talked about initiative this time. And how many actions does the player going first get to do before the other gets to react? You go through it in each sort of stage, so like organization, but it's kind of different in each one, because, for instance, organization initiative doesn't matter.
Yes, because that's sort of that's independent from, it doesn't interact with one another.
Yeah.
So organization, you're reattaching or detaching trucks, you're separating units into smaller units or grouping them up together and attaching them.
Construction, attrition, it's the sort of management-y stuff, so there's no reason that. And because nothing you can do during the organization phase can affect your opponent.
I don't think so. I don't think organization phase has any interaction.
So that's kind of simultaneous. And then also, weirdly, air combat is simultaneous. You both plan everything and then declare it to each other. So that initiative, again, doesn't matter that much at that point.
Yeah, you take turns describing, who's going to go first, what the missions are, and you roll the results. But one air mission doesn't have a knock-on effect on the other one because they happen simultaneously.
And whoever's going second doesn't get to see the other person's air missions and then plan accordingly.
Yes, exactly.
What it does matter in is matters a lot in the land combat part of the game.
Yes, because in that instance you are then actually moving your units before the other person. One thing I guess it does factor in as well as that is the result of air combat. You can pin and bombard, and that then has a knock-on effect for player B, which is the person who does not have initiative.
Yes, but you go through both. So when you become player A second, you get the stuff from that applied to you.
Yes.
So you go through both stages. I think one of the most important things about initiative, we might have mentioned this or we might have just not come up. Your CPA, which is your ability to do things, your capability point allowance, that's per op stage in total, not per... They don't refresh when the second player starts having initiative.
Yes.
Which means if you're first and like you attack someone, that costs them CPA. They might retreat, that costs them CPA. So if you've got initiative, you can potentially affect the second player's capabilities quite a lot. So initiative is very important for that wedge. And then I think I'd go back to saying it's probably not that important for the truck convoy, which now I'm breaking it down feels weird because initiative always feels very important, but it just affects one vital chunk of the game.
It's essentially just land movement is the core part, which I think is the biggest part. It's moving your troops. Yeah. But that is where it comes into play. That is where initiative, takes effect. It's realistically the only time, and the way that Andy and I do it as well, whoever has initiative, whoever chooses to go first rather, because having initiative means you get to choose who goes first. It's the case that whoever goes first also rules the weather.
Yes.
Which has become a point of contention because Andy seems to rule the weather that I don't want, which I take. Don't you dare smile at me.
I wanted foul weather this upstage.
I feel like you've this is a feint. You've done this on purpose.
Nope. But I guess that's a breakdown of initiative. So next question, Edward Baxter, the pilot. What happened to him? I did lose track of him for a bit, but I've got track of him again. He just hasn't done anything to distinguish himself. He's alive, but he hasn't shot down any more planes. So he's currently sitting at 1 ace kill.
Was he involved in the air combat we did today?
Not this one. He will be over the 4th Indian.
Good. I'm going to kill him.
I'll highlight that when it happens.
So watch the space, Hewitt, because I'm going to kill Edward Baxter next play session.
I mean, I sure hope not.
I'm going to finally get my revenge on Edward Baxter. The man needs to be stopped. What he did was unforgivable, and he needs to be undone.
Well, if you're focusing on that, you're not focusing on other stuff. So
I'm focusing on all of it. I'm a multi-faceted attack, Andy. I can't be stopped. Okay. I'm everywhere all at once, like that film that was nominated for an Oscar, I believe.
Oh yeah, with the googly eyes.
The googly eyes?
I think someone on the post had like a googly eye on their forehead.
I've never actually seen the film.
Me neither.
I can't speak to it.
But okay, back to the email, I guess. Again, thank you both for making me laugh, learn about history and the board game, and have something to look forward to on Fridays. Good luck on your journey. Yours subtly, humbly, and bravely, Hewitt. Thank you very much for getting in touch, Hewitt. There were some good questions.
Yes, it's much appreciated, Hewitt. We're very, very intrigued that you're doing a re-listen, and find all the Easter eggs we left. Yeah, they're sprinkled around. Those old episodes must be night and day compared to this one. I mean, we listened back to episode 1 when we did the anniversary episode, and that was a vastly different piece of material to now. So, thank you for that, Hewitt. The other that we have a message from Milan. Not the place, no, the individual, who reads, "Hello, Andy and James." Brackets, the proper alphabetical order, from Texas. I'm sending this email having just finished episode 25, so it will be weeks or possibly months. Months?
Months? No, you just wrote months.
Yeah, I just said months, though. Okay. That's not good.
No.
I'm not able to read anymore. Before I know if you respond to it, and here we are, we have. Also, I apologize for the length of this email. Do not apologize. We like a long, arduous task, Milan. I'm an avid World War II wargamer, an RPG player of all sorts, and your podcast has the exact kind of energy as people I love to tabletop game with, which is incredibly... I'm just saying incredibly. I'm just making shit up here, which is probably why this is the first podcast I have ever listened to for more than 2 episodes. Wow, that's a big merit, thank you. Yeah. My first child is due next year. Congratulations.
Congrats.
What a gift.
Can I suggest Andy for a boy?
Or James for a better boy. I plan on using this podcast to soothe them to sleep.
Oh, no.
So that by the time they grow into a young adult, they will want to play games just like Campaign for North Africa. You know what, Milan? I think trying to get them to play a big board game is a fun thing to try and raise your child to do. I don't know if we should be the influence in this sphere to be there for the formative stages of a child's development.
Well, it's like playing Beethoven to your kid, but you don't want them to be good at piano. You want them to play Campaign for North Africa.
That's a good point. You want them to be incredibly charismatic, subtle, humble, and brave fellows. So there you go.
All
Your
good
child will be
things.
subtle, humble, and brave and have a desert for a mind. That doesn't sound like a good thing for a child. We'll move away from this. This isn't very good. Milan, I want the best for your child, and I don't know that we're that. With all of that out the way, I do have a few questions I want to throw your way. You've mentioned playing D&D several times on your podcast, and I wonder if you've played any other RPGs. If so, which ones have you enjoyed the most? If not, what kinds of games would you like to try?
I think primarily we've just played D&D and sort of modded it for our sci-fi setting and stuff, but use that as a base. Other RPG I have played, Honey Heist.
We've played that together at
We
one
played
point.
that together at one point, and I also game mastered it on a holiday with a bunch of people once.
I'd like to give that another go.
It's a very fun, like, quick afternoon, and it's also like a bunch of people were being like, "I want to try D&D," and it's like, well, we're not going to spend hours like getting you. This is just a fun intro. It's just one page, but very, ludicrous and fun.
How would you describe the rules in a nutshell, Andy?
Well, you can either do criminal stuff or bear stuff. And as long as you have a hat on, people won't mistake you for a bear because bears don't wear hats. And that's about it.
It's a very interesting concept for a game. It's sort of D&D light. So,
And another one along those lines is we played a bit of it. Is it Everyone is John, where you're different voices in someone's head who all have different objectives.
yes, you play as one character, John, and yeah, you have a sort of series of voices in his head, and different individuals who are playing the game have to vouch for control of John, and you have to roll a die to see if you succeed at something, and you're working towards I think it's a minor goal and a major goal. So your character, you're trying to vouch for John to succeed at certain things, but if you ever fail at a task, another player at the table takes control of John.
And has their own objectives.
So I remember when we played it, my major goal was to replace Ant and Dec on an episode of Ant and Dec's Saturday Night Takeaway, a program which is aired in the UK and I think now finished. And I think my primary goal was to hijack a light rail train.
Sounds right.
And I remember when you play that game, your voice's version of John has
Skills.
a series of I think you get 3 skills, which means that the success roll on the die goes from a 6 to a 5 and a 6,
Yeah,
or maybe a 4 to a 6.
I think it's to a 5. I think it's you're normally not going to succeed.
And I remember one of our friends picked for one of their skills, it was jacking a fool's whip, which was exactly how it was described. So that meant they could hijack cars with great efficiency.
If the driver was a fool.
I guess so, yeah. Which made it very easy for them to get around. So whenever they took control of John, they could speed round very quickly. In essence, we've not played much in terms of RPGs. We're very D&D heavy. We have a main medieval setting campaign, the typical D&D campaign that we've done for nigh on 8 years. It's coming to its big conclusion.
Yes, we're doing the Avengers Endgame.
We're doing the big wrap up after it's coming up to 9 years.
Yeah. I think to give you a sense of what's going on there, without going into it too far, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9 characters from previous campaigns that have come into this one.
And they are all way beyond level 20.
Yes, they're all gods or infused with power at this point.
We have about 70 plus named NPCs who are part of the big conflict. Our other friend who plays has another 9 or so player characters,
Same amount, yeah.
and it's all wrapping up. So in terms of D&D, we've got a big through line. It's big. We've really enjoyed it. So that's our big mainstay, and that's us gushing over our RPG experience a little bit. But yeah, I guess that sort of answers that. And you continue. Also, if you've not checked it out, I recommend the Bovington Tank Museum. It has a lot of great history, including the legendary Tank Tiger 131 that was captured in the North African theatre. You can walk right up to it and touch it and read the history of how the British captured it. That's an Do you know where that is? You got that up now, Andy?
I'm currently checking. It seems to be...
Because a museum trip, I think, at some point is definitely in store for us.
Oh, we're going to do a museum tour at some point.
We won't host. We're not permitted to host.
Southwest. It's on the south coast near Weymouth.
Okay, so we could go.
Yeah.
It's in the UK.
It's close to Bournemouth.
We could get there. It'll be a hell of a trek, but we can get there.
We could break it up. We could do the York Armoury on the way.
Oh, we're gonna do a national tour of museums.
Yeah.
I say we do that. Let's say next year we'll book some time off. We'll do that. Why the fuck not?
I would love to do that.
Yeah. Well, there we go. There goes more of my social life. And Milan finishes off with shout out to my brother and wargaming buddy Pete, who everyone agrees is subtle, humble, and brave, unlike myself. Milan, sent from the deserts of my mind. Well, Milan, I've got no doubt you are subtle, humble, and brave yourself, but also, yeah, shout out to Pete. You are also subtle, humble, and brave. Anyone who listens is subtle, humble, and brave by sheer definition.
Yeah.
You're
I'm not
all
saying be subtle, humble, and brave. I'm saying stay subtle, humble, and brave.
Exactly, because you already are, all of you. And on that note, our put back to you, our interaction with you is not just today's episode, but also the video that we promised would be out a little while ago of us unboxing the game for the first time. This was on the anniversary episode, is now finally available. And we promise, if you look for it now on YouTube, if you search War with a Mate and get our channel up, it's there. It's available right now. You can check it. It's really there.
Yes. That one will be up, and the other one where we punch the pieces out will put up soon as well.
Yes, so the first one is definitely out. YouTube had a real gripe with us because we put links to the podcast in the description, and it wouldn't allow us to verify.
And I took a 6-second video of my face, and it said, "That's not a person, send me your passport." And then I did that, and it said, "No."
Because we are, Andy and I, AI generated. We are not real people. This has all been one big experiment of AI. We are, is it Grok?
No,
Is
let's
that
not be that one. Let's be one of the ones that's not a weird Nazi.
That's a good point. Well, I guess by definition in the game, I am.
I guess.
Yeah, maybe Grok did this. Or maybe it's ChatGPT. Maybe it's the mainstream one. Who knows? But all in all, it wouldn't accept us as real people. But there we are. We are real. And if you want to get in touch with us, two real people, you can do so through our email address, which is info@warwithamate.co.uk, our web form, which is on our website, which is warwithamate.co.uk, or our Instagram, which is just warwithamate. We accept messages always, and we have found out recently there is a bit of a backlog on our web form. It wasn't notifying us when we received them.
So if you've sent a web form in, we've got a bunch of them to get through as well. I'll be picking them up over the next few weeks.
Absolutely. And as we vouched in the past, I made the promise, every single piece of mail that we get, as long as you would like it to be read, we will read it out. We will get to it at some point. We will absolutely answer it. Just send it over. We will get there. It could be anything, ideally about the game. But if it's not, that doesn't matter. We'll still read it and we'll still give our opinions, however frail they may be. But Andy, that's enough of the here and now. It's time to go back to the then and there. So what does history look like in the past?
Well, we're continuing the story of the 7th and Operation Compass.
They are pushing on through. They are destroying my guys.
Yeah, we've got a quippy little quote for you. "Never has so much been surrendered by so many to so few." It's said by a Foreign Secretary at the time, Anthony Eden, who'd later become Prime Minister, I believe, as a play on the famous Churchill quote about the Battle of Britain.
I don't know, I've seen some pretty bad Kickstarters where people give up a lot of money to something that will never manifest.
Yeah, but I think 130,000 people haven't surrendered to
I guess
20,000.
when they're giving up their lives, yeah that's a
it's
different scale.
It's a bit. So we last had them, they'd taken Tobruk, and at this point the British get reliable intelligence that the Italian 10th Army is retreating from Benghazi to Tripoli using the Via Balba, just trying to get out of Libya.
The old Balbo Road.
Yeah, well, Serenica to be precise. But so at this point, General O'Connor splits the force. The 6th Australians will continue along the main road, while the 7th were going to move directly across the desert to the coast south of Benghazi to intercept this retreating army and not let it get away. The route along the Via Balba is 200 miles. The route they're going to take, the 7th Armoured is going to take across the desert, is 150 miles through a unmapped, waterless route.
Yes, I believe I know the area that it's mentioned in the previous section. I think I know exactly where they're going.
Yes. So just to give you a sense of it, the state of their armour at this point is pretty poor. They have 80 light tanks and 40 cruisers split along through the A9, A10, and A13 variants. They start out with like 205 or 250 tanks, so they're whittled down primarily through maintenance rather than destruction. But their supply situation here means that if this pursuit is going to be successful, it has to finish in 3 days or they'll run out of water, fuel, and ammo.
I know that feeling.
Oh, yeah.
That's me every single play session.
Yeah, which is also a crazy thing to throw this force in on, like, we've got
nothing. We've got half a week.
So on the 4th of February, they start their journey across the desert. The tanks are going slow and needing constant maintenance. So because of this, they make the decision to send a motorized force of infantry, armored cars, and artillery ahead under the command of John Comby, who, you'll remember, put together another sort of mismatched force earlier to fight an Italian artillery position.
Yes.
This is where this force gets the name Combi Force, which is where it all come from. It's about 2,000 men. They set off to block the road and delay the Italians until the armor can show up. Head off with about 2,000 men from the rest of the 7th. This is on the 4th of February. By 3 p.m., the armored cars have traveled 94 kilometers to the small town of Musa, whose garrison has fled at the sight of these approaching cars.
Or, I guess in our game, I've starved them so they're dead.
Yes. Either way, they don't put up much of a fight. So, on the 5th of February, 1941, by noon, the initial parts of the Combi force reach the road. Over the next 2 hours, the breakaway force takes position, 2nd Rifle Brigade across the road itself, while also placing some elements to the west, blocking the space between the dunes and the sea. And then that distance is roughly 2 miles, but it sort of changes up and down the route. But yeah. So behind them, they set up an artillery line, and then they have the 11th Hussars in like armored cars and light tanks out to the east, taking advantage of their mobility to stop anyone looping round through the desert to get behind them. So half an hour later, the first Italians arrive and hit a minefield, which the Combi force have been putting up in front of their positions, which is when the Brits launch the first ambush, which starts this battle. It throws the Italians into disarray at being attacked this far behind their lines. Like, they're retreating from Benghazi. The last they heard, these guys were in Tobruk, and now they're blocking the road for their retreat. Like, they're trying to retreat. So they didn't know how to attack down the road, while some try to attack, others try to retreat, others try to find a way around. It's just sort of a mess for the Italians. And their initial efforts were weak because most of their artillery and armour was further north, getting ready to leave Benghazi.
Yeah, it makes sense that they don't have them there and ready.
Yeah, they're not expecting this. As the day continues, more and more Italians start to arrive, and it's forming like a miles-long traffic jam. Essentially, the road is just full of vehicles and people just backing up. So the Combi force here, their goal is to delay while the armour arrives. So the tanks left Mosul, which they'd taken at 7:30 in the morning, but only arrived within radio range at 4 p.m. So this initial force has held the road for most of a day by themselves. So when the vehicles do arrive, they're a bit late because they had to move through single file to get through a minefield. And this must be so scary as the Italians. The road ahead of you is blocked to the east behind the dunes. You can't see it. huge dust clouds start to come up as the tanks like rumble across the terrain. And it's just like, what the hell is coming for us?
So at first, maybe they just think it's a sandstorm, possibly.
Yeah. I mean, there are sandstorms around this time, but this is February. It's raining for a lot of this, by the way, as well. It's miserable weather.
I wonder if they would think it's a sand. I wonder if they'd see the sand first and think it's a sandstorm before they get eyes on the tanks.
They definitely saw it a long time before. I don't know if they'd be like, I can sort of recognize a vehicle column, or if they're just like, oh, can't escape into the desert, there's a sandstorm. So the first to arrive are the 7th Hussars, followed by the 3rd Hussars and the 2nd Royal Tank Regiment, who have slower vehicles. Combi, via radio, tells them to attack along the length of the column at 3 points, which are 3 miles apart, to give you a sense of the length of this column. They're like, it's over 10 miles long. To create confusion and to alleviate some of the pressure blocking the front, Combi, while he was looking at the land, had found a series of ridges close to the road, which was shaped just nicely enough that tanks could hide behind it and then come and peek out and fire and then get behind the dunes again. So there's just tanks appearing and disappearing out of nowhere.
That's scary stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, I just watched the film Fury again recently, which is about tanks in World War II, American tanks. But just, yeah, what that film does for tank warfare, I can picture this vividly in terms of that film. It's scary stuff if they can do that.
As they start to attack the Italians, they hit several fuel trucks, which will start to burn. The sun sets around sort of 6 p.m. at this point, but these burning trucks will illuminate the night fighting.
Little beacons.
Yeah. But at this point, the British tanks are siphoning fuel from their motorized artillery into their tanks. Because they're running that low. They do have some supplies coming in after them, but it'll be quite a while. As night falls, there's a slight break in the action, but continual skirmishes. It does give the Italians a chance to get some organisation going, but the British allow it to happen because it lets them rearm and refuel and let some of their slower elements get closer. So there's a bit of a deadlock during the night. During the night, though, at one point, 2 Italian tanks do appear, but they surrender when a single trooper with a pistol climbs on top, knocks on the hatches, and gets them to surrender. So this one guy captures 2 tanks.
What? Right, okay, so this speaks immediately to what's going wrong.
Yeah.
Because they're letting men with a handgun
just walk up.
And they're getting on and they're taking 2 tanks.
Yeah, I couldn't find more about this guy, but I'm going to look for more because I couldn't find a name, but this guy sounds pretty interesting.
Well, from what I understand, if it's the Italian tanks we've talked about in the past, they have to pivot almost like a Michael Keaton Batman, where they have to rotate the entire tank. So the tank's so close that the other tank didn't have time to move, and he sort of gets on top and he's like, don't move or I'll get on top of you too. And he'll just dance between the 2 with this handgun.
I think this is just a microcosm of this whole Operation Compass as well. It's like one guy has captured 4 guys and 2 tanks by himself.
Ridiculous stuff.
So during the night, the British artillery is they're firing pot shots and then moving it and then firing more pot shots to give the impression that there's a bigger artillery line behind them. Because they can't see it because of the dunes and stuff. So the Italians don't actually know what's against them. They're also just laying mines throughout the night in front of them, again, rebuilding the minefield. And while all this is happening, the Australians are moving along the north. They've captured Barker, and then...
yes. Yeah. Oh, I know where we are. We're map B. We're top of map B now.
And in the morning, they're going to attack Benghazi. So the Italian 10th Army fleeing Benghazi into the jaws of the 7th, while the Australians are pursuing them. There's some fighting along the miles-long battle line at this point through the night and in the morning. For example, there's a major tank engagement. The Italians are sending waves of 30 tanks at a time, and 10 to 30, sorry. And then when they're roughly half a kilometre away from these ridges I've mentioned, the 2nd Royal Tank Regiment poke their guns over the ridges, rapidly just destroy 8 tanks, and then head back down the ridge. Move further along, pop up again, and destroy 7. So
just obliterating the tanks.
Yeah. To give you a sense of how The 2nd Royal Tank Regiment, it has 19 cruisers at like the most it has available during this entire fight. They account for roughly 100 Italian tanks, just that unit. At the cost, ultimately, of 4 of their tanks, which were damaged by artillery. They lose more to like breakdowns and lack of fuel.
That sounds like true to the game.
Oh, yeah.
That's verisimilitude at its finest.
Yeah. In fact, they fully run out of ammo at one point and have to wait for an ammo truck to arrive to refill them. And the Italians just don't know that and don't attack during that time. But if they had, the tanks just had no ammo left.
I don't feel bad at the game anymore.
Yeah.
That's vindication.
It's raining heavily, by the way, through all of this.
Oh my god, it's real life.
Yeah.
It's real life.
Temperatures are like 4 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius throughout the day. It's a miserable day for this to be happening to you. So, about 11 o'clock, the Italians try to make 3 attacks against the roadblock in like 3 waves. They get held off. The first 2 were just fairly weak pushes. The third is a bit more serious as they brought tanks and guns forwards. Despite this, the Italians start to surrender when the British anti-tank guns start to make an impact. So just to keep in mind, while all this is happening, the British are also taking thousands of prisoners and moving them to an improvised holding area.
Yeah, I keep on forgetting that they've also just got an army to feed.
Yeah.
And keep safe while also pushing on.
Yeah. The fighting continues throughout the day. At one point, the 1st Royal Tank Regiment, who are in reserve, get released to go and help the 2nd Royal Tank Regiment and the 7th Hussars. This is a vital piece of timing because between breakdowns, damage, and refueling, they only had 6 operational tanks at the time that they arrived. The commander of the 1st Royal Tank Regiment comes up, surveys the road sort of in front of him, and just sees hundreds of lorries, tanks, men, buses, and just lets loose. Just basically just fires everything at the road. Causing just immense general panic. Italians are trying to, like, escape now.
I love the term immense general panic as well, because it's intense,
Yeah.
but it's everywhere.
Yeah. So, all the while this is happening, the 7th have gone up and they've found the back of the convoy and are starting to... I wrote it down as they've started to chew their way through the column from the back.
They're burning the candle at both ends.
Oh, yeah. Like, this could have gone differently, but the Italians are just so battered at this point. Like, because this is such an aggressive move. But as night falls, which, said around 6 p.m., the tanks pull back for maintenance. At this point, the entire brigade, the entire 7th Division, is down to 101 tanks, which are 39 undamaged, 48 which have taken hits but are still operational, and 17 are just totally non-functional. They started Operation Compass with 275 tanks. So I'll leave you with the image of a 10-mile stretch of road littered with literally hundreds of destroyed tanks and vehicles, lit by burning fuel trunks and vehicles, and just Italians staggering through the night, trying to regroup, trying to find food, and a lot of them looking for someone British to surrender to. And there's one more day left of this battle, which is called the Battle of Better Form. But we'll pick that and the end of Operation Compass up next week.
Wow, what a cliffhanger you've left us on for the penultimate episode. That is quite the picture to paint, because that sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, this is one of the first times I've been reading this where I've just felt sorry for the Italian. Like, there's a lot, like, Graziani's absolute piece of shit, and, like, the higher but just being, like, a bus driver who's, like, yeah, take some guys from Benghazi to Tripoli, and then you're just, what the fuck is going on?
Oh no, I'm suffering immense general panic. That's insane. Being in that situation where the fuel trucks are just ablaze, all you can see are destroyed vehicles, the silhouettes of metal chunks just scattered across this road, seeing people wandering around and wondering, is this some of us? Or am I just going to wander over And it's someone who, with the same handgun he's pointing at me now to end my life, he just captured 2 tanks.
Yeah, and they've appeared out of nowhere through the desert from your perception. Like, you know the Australians are coming along the road because that's sort of... You were already evacuating Benghazi, but this is like... That sped it up. You're not expecting a roadblock.
Well, this is the Long-Range Desert Group all over again, but just dialed up to
A division, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just appearing out of the desert, and it's like, well, shit.
out of the... Was it the 5th dimension? The 4th dimension that
Yeah.
he described it as?
Yeah, Bagnall describes it as appearing out of the 4th dimension.
Yeah, they're just here. They're upon
Yeah.
you, and it's a division this time. What a terrifying situation. What a horrible world to live in all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Where that can just happen to you. At that point, you must question everything you've known about the war, because you thought you were a sure thing.
Yeah. A month ago, literally a month almost to the day, you sallied forth over the Egyptian border with 250,000 men to fight 30,000 men. And then you've had probably one of the worst months in military history.
Is this a Custer situation?
I don't know what I'll go over some of it a bit, but like this is an insane level of aggression from the British, like pushing everything to the limit, and it will set a false expectation of what's possible later on, but it's because the Italians are so defensive that them being overly aggressive makes sense.
Yes.
Whereas when they're fighting the like more aggressive Germans, you can't get away with this shit. Like,
Yeah, this works on this group,
yeah,
but in future you can't apply this as a blanket rule.
No.
This was
this is
under
very
preparedness
much
on
a
one side.
one-off.
Under preparedness, under equipness, and I guess good tactical work, and just luck seems to play into history so much more than I gave anticipation for. I genuinely think, based on all of these history segments so far, that luck is definitely the biggest swing in all of this.
Oh, it's definitely like impactful. But there's also like it's the Italian supplies. Like I think I mentioned when we were doing the like what's everyone got at the start a few weeks ago. The Italian tanks, they have to stop, get out, like unpack a radio and like radio in to like get more orders. All the British tanks have a radio built into them, which is why they're able to perform this level of coordination and like fight a battle across 10 miles in like coordinated like step. Yeah, this is a crazy like route.
2 things I had as questions on the back of that
Yep.
was, and I don't know if you'll know as the sage of history, or if maybe a listener knows, or if it's something I'll just have to research in between, is 1, Operation Combus.
Yes.
Do we know what it was named after? Where the name came from?
No, that's a good point. I don't know how the British name them at all. I don't know if it's a random name off a list or if it's to do with some of the
Like the actual
goals and
tactical play?
targets, yeah.
Because it's a name that holds a lot of weight in this campaign. But I've heard it so many times I've never thought to question what it means. Was it to do with the objective? I presume it wasn't a posthumous name. It was probably one that was given during the operation
It
itself.
was for the... Because remember, again, this is meant to be a 5-day exploratory raid to push them back like 10 miles.
Which is why I'm interested as to what that name would have meant
Yeah.
compared to what it ended up being.
I don't know if I've said it, but I feel like you should pick your name off like a randomized list of operations rather than have like a...
One that actually indicates what it is you're trying to do.
Yeah, that feels like bad information security.
Like if it's like Operation Ridge Breaker and you're
Yeah.
trying to push the enemies against a ridge.
They can be like, okay, we should defend the ridge.
Yeah, get away from the ridge.
Yeah.
And the other question I had was, and this is a more obscure one, you probably won't know this. Someone might though. Is when I mentioned there about seeing this like big dust cloud coming and you've got all the prisoners. Do you reckon there's been a situation where you've got 100,000 prisoners in tow and there's only 30,000 of you? Do you gather around the prisoners and put them in amongst your ranks to make it look like you're massively bolstered? Or is that far too risky to just all of a sudden have these vast quantity of prisoners
I don't know
heading towards their allies.
I don't know about risky necessarily. I feel like that's probably against the Geneva Convention.
That was my other...
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think there's stuff about using enemy combatants as like decoys or
cannon fodder.
cannon fodder, yeah.
Because my thought was to make it appear more intimidating so that the enemies retreat. The risk, of course, is that
They
the enemy
engage.
sees them and starts gunning them down, at which point you've just... Yeah, I guess you could do the whole, like, hold your hands up. Well, I didn't kill them, but that's still... You've killed them by proxy.
Yeah.
I just wonder if there's ever been a moment where it's been tactically viable, but also on the fence enough where you can go, well, this was okay. I didn't put them in harm's way, technically.
I think I'd have to look it up. I think the Mongols and some other like more ancient armies would drive like captured prisoners and slaves in front of the army
Okay.
to like eat up missile fire and stuff. But I think once you get to this, once you've sort of got a Geneva Convention, the thing is you stick to that because you then can sort of expect to get it.
Yeah, you don't want
Whereas
that coming back to bite you.
Don't like the Japanese and the Russians. It's like sort of anything.
All bets are off.
All bets are off here because everyone involved is just doing the worst thing possible to their opponent.
Yeah, I'm very glad that the history segments that we cover will not really touch on a whole lot of that, because some of the stuff about Japanese prisoners of war and the stuff they get up to,
371 or whatever.
that is just barbaric.
But this might be wrong about this, but I think the Japanese high command deliberately made them treat prisoners badly so that the Japanese troops would have an expectation of, if I surrender, we've done all this horrible stuff, it'll be done to me.
Oh,
it was
right.
almost a deliberate tactic to get their soldiers not to surrender.
Yes. I guess, yeah, it could either be a case of they did that so that could be sort of advertised, or maybe they were doing that anyway for whatever reasons they had in mind to do it, and then made it public knowledge to sort of go, well, we're doing this. Who knows what's going on over there? Or even if they aren't doing it, we've done it. Maybe you'll get worse treatment for it.
And then the Eastern Front was essentially just a portal into hell.
Yeah, that's... Thankfully, we're dealing with... Well, it was described as the war without hate.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do an episode debunking that, because it's not. But
yeah, it's had some...
Compared to the other theatres, it's...
I guess what we've
bit
seen...
better.
What we've seen isn't hate-filled. It seems to be... And this is a broad sweeping statement from someone who's only learned from it through the history segments and everything we've got so far. It seems to be relatively fair military combat. And I say that with the disclaimer of not knowing everything at all. But that's my perception so far.
Yeah.
A year into learning stuff about this.
More so, but there is definitely atrocities against the local Jewish population once the Germans arrive, particularly from the SS, obviously.
Well, that's it. I guess that's another thing. We're looking at the early stages. This is back when it's the Italian Commonwealth conflict, when the Nazis arrive, and also all the bits in between. We're covering the broad strokes about military units that we're familiar with, and we've done history segments on higher up figures. Yeah. I've got no doubt there will be some pretty heinous shit that goes on.
Well, I think it's sort of important to, when you're talking about the local population here, is the Libyan genocide had killed like 50% and displaced 80% of the people living in the region, which means like by the time this conflict's happening, there's not many locals.
Yes.
In the same way, there's a lot of Italian colonists.
But you've eradicated the native population that would have been hit by
the brunt of that, like, war crime, concentration camp stuff. They've sort of already done it.
Yeah, you're sort of going, well, we haven't really done anything to anyone here. It's like, yeah, there's no one fucking left.
You already did it before this started, yeah.
Yeah, you did it before the battle. You've done it before the conflict. They're already suffering those losses. Yeah, that's a good point. That is sort of a proxy of, well, we haven't done anything wrong here.
It would be kind of like, this is probably not a great analogy, but if, like, in the, like, mid-30s, Germany had killed all of the Jews, and then you had the war in the 40s, and you were looking at that, like the Western Front, and you're going, well, there was not many atrocities there, and it's like, well, they'd already done it.
which I also imagine does translate to history because of the creeping push of fascist movements
Yeah.
through Europe. There are probably a lot more people killed between every target audience of the Holocaust.
Yeah.
I imagine a lot of people were killed in the build-up to that before whatever declaration of war encapsulates that as war losses.
Yeah.
So I guess it's one of those things that's kind of up in the air, but
Yeah.
is definitively evil.
Oh, yeah.
There's no two ways about that. It's fucked from go. Well, as always, a very interesting history segment. One that I think we've started to delve into the darker sides and the horrors of it. We found ourselves slipping into the serious there, Andy. We need to pull ourselves up, and if you'll take my hand from Operation Ridge Pusher, whatever it was that I coined earlier, I'm going to hold your hand. Will you pull me up over this ridge?
I will. I've got some common ground for you.
Lift me up.
Something nice and light.
Lift me up. And now for something nicer. A little oasis in the war. It's time for some common ground. I'm trying the intro for common ground. I'm recording. Maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so here's my common ground. Franchises should have to have a fallow year.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna come in here first of all and say, generally, from what you've just offered here, I would probably agree with this.
Okay, yeah.
I don't disagree with this. The concept, by the way, for common ground, for anyone who isn't aware,
Yes.
is
really gone ahead of myself.
my fear is someone comes in and this is their first episode and they don't understand common ground. It's the segment in which we come together, Andy and I, after a long week of conflict, and we find a common ground to unite on, become friends over, and then next week we can continue the campaign for North Africa. And today you're suggesting a fallow year, was it?
Yes, for franchises.
Every franchise has one.
Yeah.
So what would that entail?
So, like, fallow year just for... It's like when your farmers, like, leave a field and don't plant it every, like, 5 to 7 years so they can, like, the soil can recover. And, like, Glastonbury, the music festival, does it, I think, every 4 years, where they'll just be like, we're not doing it this year so the ground doesn't get too fucked up.
Yes, yeah.
I think 4 years is a good cycle for this. Things I have in mind, Marvel, Star Wars, Call of Duty, FIFA. I think every sort of 4, maybe every 5 years, they should have a year they don't do anything with it. There's no, like, no movies, no, like, Disney Plus show. There's not a FIFA for that year. Just every once in a while you block and the franchise just doesn't do anything that year, lets the fatigue sort of die down a bit, and the people working on it have a sort of year to get ideas rather than churning stuff out.
I agree with this overall.
Okay.
I have a few amendments, and it doesn't really contest the idea of this. It's more about where we apply it.
So this is one where we agree generally, and we're going to get into the details.
I think so. I think so.
Okay,
Because
good.
I agree with this. I think when it comes to... All right, so you mentioned FIFA.
Yeah.
I don't think FIFA would benefit from this. I don't play FIFA. I'm not into sports at all. I've played FIFA a few times at like house parties,
Yeah.
but FIFA it's sports. It's an annual event. They release the game every year, and I think with FIFA there isn't any real benefit to be gained from taking a year off. I think with that one, what needs to be restructured, in my humble opinion,
think I know
as someone
what
who
you're gonna say.
as someone who doesn't play the game, is that you just have FIFA.
It's just a subscription like World of Warcraft, and then you...
Yeah, it's one of those games where it really feels like it would benefit from just a live service game. There's so many games
It's one
that
of
don't
the
work that way.
I would almost never advocate for a live service game. It's almost
Yeah.
always the wrong choice. It seems like that business model is custom made for FIFA.
They released Halo Infinite, and they were like, well, this is going to be the Halo game for the next 10 years. We'll update it constantly. No. Make a new Halo game every few years. Make a new campaign. Release a new multiplayer. Keep it cyclical. every 3-4 years. That works. A game that it's a sporting seasonal game. You get new players that come into the game every season. That works perfectly because you can update it not just annually, but you can update it every season. This is me being so alien. I don't really know much about football, but there's a football season that comes in.
I've got friends who play. I don't play it much, but it will be like, oh yeah, the throw-ins are better this year, or like the free kick. It's like
the mechanics, maybe to an extent,
but to such a minor degree, it's like that could have just been a patch.
Yeah, you've kind of already perfected the skeleton of the game, especially at this age. Maybe every 5 to 10 years you make a new game, but the concept behind it should be it's a live service between then.
Yeah, in fact, FIFA has a reverse fallow year where you do one and new one every 4 to 5.
Yes. Everything should be a patch before then. Yeah. And if there's a big technological breakthrough where you can make the game fundamentally different.
You release one for the first year of like each console generation, basically.
Yes, that would work perfectly. Yeah.
And
then you patch it.
Supporting it, yeah.
The other one you mentioned, Call of Duty, I think
it needs one, to be honest.
In my opinion of it, again, I don't play a whole lot of Call of Duty. Did back in the day.
Oh yeah.
And I hope this isn't just me being a short-sighted back in my day person, but it used to be very good. It used to feel like an event every year, and I don't know if I'm just out of touch, but Black Ops like 7 or 8 is coming out, or has come out.
Yeah.
And that, to me, and again, I don't know if it's me distorting the passage of time, I'm like, wow, they're really churning these out now.
I think it's partially that, but also it's like Modern Warfare was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then even World at War, which wasn't as good a game, was like, oh, wow. And then when the first Black Ops came out by the guys who were doing the World at War ones, it was like, oh, they're doing something fresh and new.
Yes.
And now it feels like that's, yeah, maybe out of touch, but I think it trying to do one every year just really messes them up.
But I think that might be a series that's now become that. I think that might be one that's sort of too far gone.
But I think that's why if you have a break for a year,
it could.
It gives it some space.
But is it enough space? I think for something like that, you might need something more drastic.
That might need to just be like, we're putting this on the back burner and we'll release a remastered edition of Modern Warfare 2 in like a decade.
Yeah, that could be a hiatus game. However, when it comes to, I think film is really where this comes in.
Particularly what I put COD and FIFA on there because it was another like thing that comes out every year. But I really think for film and particularly universes,
yes,
because I don't want them to do like, oh, we're not doing any Marvel films this year, but we're going to put 8 series on Disney Plus. I just want it's like we're not doing Marvel for a year.
Yes, and I think
and then you like put that maybe opposite the year you're not doing Star Wars. So you keep having stuff coming out overall, but those franchises get a break. They get a chance to get some like fertility back in the soil, as it were, like some creative.
I agree with this. I think at the risk of us sounding like every YouTube commenter about every Marvel film, the kind of people who try to put Disney to rights, and I know there's 1,000,001 people who do this, but it's something I definitely agree with in its principle, because I think I love the Marvel films. I think they're very good films for the most part. I think after Endgame, and again, this is just me sounding like every fucking person who talks about this. This is not an original idea, but I think after Endgame, things petered off a bit. You ended up with a combination of oversaturation and maybe less creative input as well, and things became a bit of a churn. And again, it's rich from someone who puts something out every week and it's the same thing. We've played the game, we're playing the game, but we know that we're doing that. We're a FIFA. I don't play FIFA. I don't particularly enjoy FIFA, but we are a FIFA. We are something that will continue regularly forever. That's the structure. A film franchise shouldn't be that. I think your mic's a bit askew. I think you caught The Wire. The Wire, good TV show, never seen it. I think films do benefit from a break.
I think they've been releasing some alright stuff recently.
Oh, you got great
But
stuff. You
there's
got
the like too much fatigue.
yeah.
Whereas I think if everyone had a bit of a break, they would have enjoyed like Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four more.
Yeah, you've got great films coming out. It's just how you release them, when you release them, how it interconnects. When you've got 25 films or whatever it was before Endgame that all play into each other, and there's like 4 or 5 a year, it all kind of works.
I think it also works for sort of the NCIS Law and Order type show.
That's a good point. I've not actually thought about the procedurals.
I think sometimes some of those super long running procedurals could benefit from a. Like, I'm not a big soap guy, but like, imagine if like Coronation Street or EastEnders had a year in the writer's room. I think soaps are a bad. Probably not. The whole thing is they're a daily thing. But
I guess, yeah, they're another one that I think their
Yeah.
structure demands a day. Because I think that's sort of you tap in every day.
yeah,
The thing is, I get what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. I think it's just that there's so much that relies on it through its nature. It's easy to confuse with the stuff that really needs it. And I think films should not be that. Films should not be a soap opera.
no,
Film should be something. If you're doing a big film franchise, it should be an event. It shouldn't be oversaturated. I think what it is, you shouldn't be able to be burdened with having to watch stuff you can't afford the time to watch. You shouldn't have to make it a struggle for people to be up to date.
I also think if you put that gap in it like breaks up the risk of it becoming formulaic.
Yes.
Uh,
You need to be able to, as a casual viewer, tap in, watch everything, and still enjoy the franchise as a whole.
yeah,
But if you've got 5 or 6 films, you've got 3 TV series, they're all 8 episodes per season, and they've all got weird side characters, and there's crossovers from the other show, which you need to watch beforehand. You can't dip in anymore.
no.
You can't watch, it's like you can't go back. You can watch,
Because that's another-
Captain America Civil
yeah.
War. It's a Captain America film. It's got all the characters in.
As well as the creative break for the people making it, it also gives people a chance to. It's like I can watch 3 years of Marvel stuff over 4 years without falling behind. Mm-hmm. Just gives people a chance to, if they want to, catch up.
You know what? I can't really argue with this as an idea because I enjoy watching stuff that I've followed for a long time. We talk about Scream around Halloween. We watched it a few years ago, and new one's coming out. It's been a bit of a delay. There was a lot of behind the scenes reasons for it, controversial, but I think overall the gap in between
It's help stuff.
makes me excited. I'm hyped for it. I'm really excited for when that comes
Well,
out.
that's why I think Netflix haven't had a hit in a while. Is because they drop it all at once,
Well,
so you don't have the anticipation and speculation.
Well, you got Stranger Things that's out now. I'm watching that again now. The last season. I'm watching that now. I've only watched episode 1 so far, but I'm excited to see how that wraps up. That's one I've picked up, and at first I didn't think I'd like it, but it's good. And another one for me personally, a big one, and it's not so much. I think there's been other stuff released, but my favorite book is House of Leaves, which I've mentioned before on this.
Yep.
That came out in 2000. New book just came out, Tom's Crossing, by Mark Z. Danielewski. And he's had other books in between, but this one it felt like it had a lot of momentum behind the release. And that's, 25 years between the two? And I think books, yes, it takes a lot more to write a book because it's one guy usually, it's one author. So I think that
But
has
I
a
think
cadence
it also
that
takes
carries.
more to read a book. Like most books you read will be longer than.
Yes,
like,
the experience of reading it.
It's more active, and also like a book is like, even if you're a fast reader, like you sort of a page a minute, so it's like 5 hours for a 300-page book.
Yeah, it's at least
Which-
days for most people.
Yeah.
If not weeks, depending on the book and the reader. So I think that, for me, when I've been reading that recently, I've got it a few days ago, the cadence of going from the media I consume at the moment, which is, I'll be honest, a lot of fast-paced, disposable media, a lot of YouTube shorts, a lot of TikTok, and then going back to reading a book for the first time in a good few months. Last book I read was like page to page months ago, I think. So getting into this is, I think, really an indicator of why this is a good idea. I think we should have a good break between stuff. And I feel like this isn't a usual common ground, because usually we get into the wacky stuff.
Yeah.
But this is something I genuinely believe in. I think it's just a really good point I have ardent belief in. This is right. This is good.
Yeah.
This isn't a common ground, Andy. This is just correct.
This is just an idea that people need to listen to.
So I guess on the back of that, if anyone has a counterpoint to that, or any franchise they think should really benefit from the fallow year, or alternatively, a franchise that really shouldn't have the fallow year, let us know. This is a topic I'm personally very invested in, because the cadence of art, I think, is a very delicate thing to address.
Yeah, and it's sort of just go, go, go now, because it's like studios and stuff. Whereas like, you're sort of also killing your golden goose. So let it have a few days off every now and again.
Yeah, see what happens when you let things breathe. Yeah. It's probably going to be beautiful.
You'll maybe get a bigger egg.
And on that note, we'll be back next week and every other week for the rest of our lives, talking about the same game over and over again, reading emails from yourselves, talking about some history, just rehashing everything we do every week. Nothing changes. It's the same thing. If you like familiar stuff, you've come to the right place, because it's always going to be the same thing. It's always going to be the same people. It's always going to be the same game, the same vibe. Everything will stay uniform. If you want to get in touch and address any of that, whether it's to ask a question or complain about what I've just said, and ask us to change the structure, which I promise we will do very little to do. The email address is info@warwithamate.co.uk. The website is warwithamate.co.uk, and the Instagram is just warwithamate. But, Andy, do you have anything else to share?
Thanks for listening. Stay subtle, humble, and brave.
In the deserts of your minds. Good night.